All right. Good morning, everybody. Susan and I are here to talk to you a little bit about staffing. Anybody who's interested in transferring or changing schools or finds themselves in the middle of all that staffing stuff that's about to get started. We want to make sure that we can answer some of your questions today. Um, so Susan and I will go back and forth a little bit and talk through some things. And the first thing we want to talk about is who we're really talking to. So yes, if you are interested in transferring, changing schools, moving someplace else, that'd be like that voluntary transfer. You're choosing to move. But we're also talking to folks who have an involuntary transfer, or that thing that most of us know as a destaff. And we want to make sure that you have enough information as well. The one quick note I'll make is that if you are on a one-year only contract or a temporary contract, you should not think of yourselves as a transfer candidate, but instead just a candidate for hire. You can compete for positions just like anyone else who's applying to FCPS, but you're not truly doing a transfer if you're 1 year only, because your contract ends and then you actually have to be rehired. So for the D staff folks, Susan, tell us a little bit about the things that they should be thinking about.
I just think that you need to remember that a part-time position will always be cut first. So if you are in that position, you need to be proactive and talk to your administrator about what's happening at your school for next year. That also means that if you're put on involuntary transfer or destaffed, you're not fired, but they are going to look for a different position for you. And there's more details here in the document that you can read.
So there is the staffing transfer document is something that's going to be available to you. It's always going to be in Schoology, so you guys will be able to find that. Next thing I want to talk about real quick is the timeline. It's just something to always keep in mind every year, and especially for teachers who are so busy. Like right now, you guys are getting the second semester started. And realizing that the staffing season is kicking off is sometimes kind of a shock. So when you see that intentions request from your principal that says, hey, what are your plans for next year? That should be a good sign for you, not just that they're collecting that information, but that staffing season is about to begin. Each year, the dates change a little bit, and there are a few dates that we want to share with you. And the first of those is that the transfer window opens on February 14th this year, 2022. Hiring begins just 2 weeks later, so there's really only 2 weeks when people can transfer, but you can't yet be hired. So that's one of those distinctions between a person on a continuing contract looking for a transfer versus a person on a 1 year only contract that would have to be rehired. So hiring begins on February 28th. D-staff letters aren't due until mid-April, because schools are getting their staffing meetings at the end of, what is it?
March.
The end of March
Mm-hmm.
and beginning of April.
Right.
So that's when they're finding out exactly how much staffing that they have for the following year. And if they need to de-staff someone based on the information that they get, that should be decided by April 18th. And then anybody looking for a transfer needs to realize too that there's a deadline, and that is this year on June 24th, 2022. So if you're looking for a transfer, that has to happen sometime between February 14 and June 24. After June 24, wherever your current contract is, wherever you're currently placed, that's where you're going to be in the fall. So Susan, if somebody's looking to transfer, what should they do? What do they need to be thinking about?
Well, and it's so important that that you're proactive. I got to say that if you're really looking to move levels, or you want to change schools, or you've moved to a different part of the county and you want to get closer to home, all of these reasons would make you a great candidate to transfer. And then, of course, if you fall into the involuntary transfer, you also want to take the reins and be very active in looking, right? You need to make sure that you communicate with your principal. When they're sending you that intentions form, that's also kind of an invitation for a conversation. If you're looking to make a change, you should talk to them about your intentions, because if you start applying to other schools, those schools are going to call your principal. So you just want to make sure that you're letting them know. Also, let us know. Send us a copy of your updated resume so that we can also help you maybe find a better placement. And then, the vacancy list. So the vacancy list updates on Wednesdays, usually during the week, but as the hiring season gets into full season, it might update every other day. So make sure that you're checking. And when you're looking for those jobs, once you hit the apply button, don't just hit the apply button, but send that principal a brief email with a copy of your resume. And then when you are, when they contact you to request an interview, take your A game, man. Dress up, take your portfolio, and go and compete for that position, because you're not only competing against your colleagues that are already in the district, you might be competing against somebody fresh out of college. And so you definitely want to bring your A game.
I think that's so important, Susan. You're absolutely right. And it's not that, some of our experienced teachers don't have something to offer that might be bigger and better than that person fresh out of college. But those kids coming fresh out of college oftentimes are really prepared for those interviews.
Mhm.
They've been practicing interviewing.
Yep.
They've been talking with their professors of how to dress and how to present themselves. So we can't just go into an interview at a school and hope that the fact that we're an experienced FCPS teacher is going to be enough to ride on.
Well,
Really
and to
good point.
wait, and just to piggyback on that for a second too, if you haven't interviewed in a while and you want us to mock interview, just send us an email, because we would be very happy to work with you to just do a practice so you're ready when the time comes.
Awesome. Let me say a few things about part-time and 1 year
Sure.
only, because I know this stuff comes into play for some of you. So an important thing to realize, Susan was talking about who gets destaffed earlier. Part-time people get destaffed first. And obviously 1 year only, they're not even a consideration, because when their contract ends, there's maybe a vacancy left there. But if you are a part-time person and you move, then you can move into full-time or an itinerant placement again. But if you move into a part-time position that isn't matched with another school to make a full-time job, or if you accept a 1 year only position, you'll actually have a break in your contract or break in your service time, because all part-time jobs are 1 year only unless they're matched together to make a full-time contract. So if you go to 1 year only, your continuing service date resets, and you'll no longer be senior or considered more senior in Fairfax County. If you have any questions about that, just let us know. We can talk to you explicitly and specifically about your specific situation. But that has to be kept in mind when you're looking at part-time and 1 year only jobs. I think a great example of that is when someone has moved to a very different part of the county or out of county, and they want to be in their job to be in a different part of the county. And for location reasons, they might even be willing to take an itinerant job where they're maybe working at 2 schools on the side of the county that is closer to them. That's fine. That absolutely works. But then you need to be looking at how you match 2 jobs together. That does look a little bit different for elementary compared to high school or middle school. The secondary jobs can more commonly be matched together. Elementary and secondary jobs do not match together very well at all. It happens very rarely. So keep those things in mind. And if you need more information about part-time positions and what those look like, there's some more information referenced in the transfer guide that we're providing to you. So Susan, with what we've said so far, what's it come down to when they accept a position? What do they need to know?
Well, and so once you accept a position, just know that you're locked in. You can't go back to that previous position. This is your new location. This is your new school. This is your destiny. However, if you are placed during an involuntary transfer, meaning that HR helps find you a placement at, and the job that you were involuntarily transferred from suddenly has a flush and they go back to a full-time position, you can go back to that. But again, we would always defer to HR for the minutia of those details. And Aaron, can you add anything to that, or?
No, I think you're absolutely right. You know, there are rare occasions when a school can lose staffing, have to do a destaff, and then for and summer enrollment numbers come up, and then all of a sudden they have more staffing and they realize that they could actually reinstate that position. So you are able to, it is possible to get destaffed and then bounce back into that job and not actually change positions, but only if you were placed through that HR placement process. If you you know, go out there and find yourself a job and accept a transfer, those look a little different. So again, contact us if you have any questions, and that's going to be the point that we end on. We are always happy, willing, excited, eager to talk to you guys and help you through this process. We want to support our teachers as they're looking for transfers. We want to support new applicants as they're looking for hires. We want to support your department if you're looking for new teachers, whether those are new hires or transfers from other schools. So let us know what's going on and let us know how we can help you. We'll be there because the first and last thing that we want from the Fine Arts Office is to have all of our art teacher positions filled with the best candidates possible. It makes everything a whole lot easier. So thanks, everybody. Let us know if you have any questions and have a great day.
See you later. Bye.